part two. Let's do part two. And then I'm going to move on to having lunch or breakfast or brunch or whatever it actually becomes. This is obviously a very disturbing story dealing with child neglect, um, tapping into people's memories about their own childhood, tapping into people's trust issues. Hang on. This is a picture of my brother and I at the Indian Caves in Yosemite, which is no longer marked. It's no longer a marked destination because bears tend to hibernate in this particular area. But as you can see, we were incredibly thin. This is us. I'm getting to the age where I'm a little taller than him, despite the fact that he's older than me. But he is standing a little bit down the hill from me, right? But I did during junior high. I did get a little taller than he did, just for like a couple years. The thing was that at this age in life, we were basically asking our friends to give us lunch. We were not getting lunches ourselves. We did not get money for lunches. We did not have food in the house that we could pack up ourselves. We were not even trained up as kids to pack up our own lunches. And so we were thinner than we should have been, right? Not to the extent where either of us have done anything crazy in our lives, right? We went through struggles as children because our parents were divorced, and we only saw our dad on holidays and birthdays for a few hours, right? He was completely uninvolved in our lives. And our mother was a single mom who really didn't have the attention span to take care of these basic needs for us, and also had a health condition where she was fighting migraines. That's why stories like this, like where it goes way more extreme than what we faced, um, hits me hard because I know what kind of struggles I felt as a kid. I'm looking at this picture right now and I'm realizing that my brother probably has the same problem as me. It looks like my brother has a longer leg. I have this exact same problem. My right leg is about a fourth inch shorter than my left leg. I haven't really inspected this photo all that much. But anyway, let's get back to the story because basically a lot of us went through neglect as children and were able to evolve out of that, become productive adults, earn a living, get an education. But at the same time, we had our own struggles, and it can harm you. It can seriously harm you. It can cause difficulty for you to stay married. So maybe you get married multiple times, right? I was married once in 94, got divorced in 95. I have never been married again. And the reason being is, yeah, I got some trust issues, you guys. That's a reality. And a lot of it had to do with my upbringing. But you can see I'm probably sixth or seventh grade at this point, and my brother, who looks smaller than me, was a year older than me, but skipped a grade, which made it even worse for him. Like, I definitely have a lot of sympathy for the shit that went down with my brother. He skipped a grade, and then got teased for his size. They put him in the high school yearbook as in his freshman year next to a life-size photo of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and captioned it Beck the Speck. So he's definitely faced his own emotional traumas, and I understand this, right? But we, you know, growing up and going through these things together and also expressing our own hostilities to each other, you know, it's really sad to see these stories that I'm watching on these true justice or true crime or whatever it's called. It's very disturbing to see when it gets so out of control that that kids die. That's hard. All right, let's go.
And then you said afternoonish was, what'd you say, two?
Around 2, the kids would have their snack. Maybe 2 to 3.
How about the diaper situation on that one?
She just always pee. So every time I got her to feed her during the day, there was always pee.
He's basically trying to establish that her child was not having enough bowel movements, which sounds accurate here. As a mother myself, I had to change diapers far more frequently than what she's describing right now.
So every daytime feeding had a what diaper?
Yes.
Holy smoly.
Yeah, well, she was eating a lot.
Yeah, she was.
It was just at 3:30, which I was grateful for, that I didn't have to change her diaper at 2:30 in the morning when I wanted to go back to bed.
Obviously, she was not eating a lot if she was malnourished and starved to death. So this chick is lying to you.
Right. So then, 5-ish? 5 to 6? Or is this or were they going to do one more feeding before you went to work? Or?
Yeah, so around 5, when the kids would have dinner,
Okay.
because I would put the kids down for bed before I left also, and she's in the winter, so it was darker outside, so they would sleep earlier in the day. So I'd feed everyone, and then that's bed for the night.
Which would be about?
6:30, because then I'd have to get ready for work. 6:30, kids would go to bed, and there'd be a bottle on the counter.
Did you have a babysitter? Was somebody else in charge of the children while this was happening? You're going to work from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m., right? Did you have a babysitter? Because I'm quite certain that there was no time that I left my child alone until he was like in junior high, and I gave him a cell phone and we had clear instructions on how to contact each other, right? I mean, he wasn't even, well, okay. I think he started walking back and forth to school in the 6th grade, maybe, or the 5th grade, potentially. But it was like 1 hour out of the day, right? I mean, he was not unsupervised at any time. So what's going on between 7 and 11? I hope he gets to this. So what was happening between 7 and 11 with your 10-month-old? Because that's fucking unacceptable.
And there'd be one in the fridge, just in case.
But first,
while the kids were eating dinner, yeah.
Would you put her to bed? Would she be asleep when you put her to bed?
Yeah.
Okay. So you would feed her to sleep and then lay her to bed. Okay.
Yes. And there wouldn't be anything, not even a teddy bear in the bed, not that early.
Okay.
She's saying that because of the risk of SIDS. Like, she's not unintelligent. It doesn't sound like she's just a neglectful, selfish bitch. But she's saying, I didn't put anything in the crib. I couldn't have suffocated this baby. That's a sudden infant death syndrome. That's what SIDS stands for, y'all. She's trying to act like she's a good mother when, in fact, she did not give a shit about her kids.
And she would sleep until maybe midnight. So Seth wouldn't even sometimes need the bottle. So I would just use the bottle so it wouldn't go to waste.
I'm sorry, the bottle? I thought you were a breastfeeder. You only had a 4-hour shift. You didn't need to pump for that bullshit. You didn't need to pump for that bullshit. You had a 4-hour shift. You were home all day, right, bitch? You were home all day? You were supposed to be breastfeeding this 10-month-old.
So if you were already home, then you'd use the bottle.
Yes.
Why?
But if you weren't home, Seth would use the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you do with the one in the fridge then?
I use it the next morning.
Okay.
Just want to make it.
So you were not breastfeeding. You were not breastfeeding. You just totally fucking lied about that. If you're using a bottle, you're not breastfeeding.
Yeah, 3:30 when she would get up again, and it was 3:30 clockwork. She knew. I would sleep on the couch because I would just know that she'd be up at 3:30.
So let me just go over this to see if I've got it right. And so actually, I'll start with midnight.
Okay.
So typically, either right before you got home or about the time you got home, there was a feeding.
Yes. I think she just knew Mama was home.
Now, was it always you, or did sometimes Seth feed her prior to you being home?
It was always me.
Okay.
I chose to, and he was very kind about it. He said, "Need your rest."
Yeah.
I can't even, you guys.
Really, Seth didn't even need those bottles that were left behind because he
I
didn't.
remember, no.
Okay.
And she started eating solid food a month after that, and that's when 3 to 11 shift.
Oh, okay.
And that's when she was eating the solid food, so I would grind up, organic vegetables mixed with
Oh, you did you?
Yeah.
and he would feed that to her along with some oatmeal.
Okay. So before we get into that, let me just first make sure this timeline's all right.
Okay.
So at midnight, you would Mary. At 3:30 in the morning, she would wake you up crying.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd get up and you'd feed her again. Her diaper was fine because at midnight.
By the way, I think it's, it's been a long time since I had a baby myself, right? My son is going to be 29 this year. But I'm fairly confident that once they get to the point where they're digesting solid food, which she's obviously very much lying about, because if she was taking solid food, she wouldn't have starved to death. I'm fairly positive that by the time you get to solid food, they're sleeping through the night. It doesn't take, I think it's somewhere around 6 months to 9 months that they start sleeping through the night. So the idea that she's waking up every 3 hours to, you know what she's doing? You know what she's doing, you guys? She's trying to express hostility towards her baby that she just fucking killed.
You changed her diaper?
Yes.
Was that poopy? Or
Most likely it was her poop. Because she was sleeping for 4 hours before that.
Yep. So then at 3:30, full feeding, diaper's fine. 5 a.m., full feeding, probably a wet diaper.
Yes.
8 to 9, full feeding, maybe a poopy diaper. Noonish, full feeding. If the other diaper wasn't poopy, this one was.
Yes.
2 to 3, full feeding, wet diaper. 6:30, just prior to you going to work, you'd feed. You lay her in bed, and then you're off to work. Mm-hmm. And then you'd be home by midnight. We'd start the thing over again.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you said those habits changed at some point.
At about 6 months.
At 6 months. So at 6 months, did your hours change? Is that why these habits changed, or did they change because, or a combination of both?
It could have been a combination of both. I know because she was growing, she was eating more, and we were encouraging solid food so she could gain more weight. So we just wanted.
Just remember here, she's trying to describe this as a healthy child who's growing at a normal rate when they just described the condition of Mary when she died as having her eyes sunken in, having bed sores all over her body, being incredibly thin for a 10-month-old. She's inventing an entire new reality for this situation because she's trying to get out of the fact that she kills her daughter, right? This is the same bullshit we're seeing out of Republicans right now with the complete invention of alternate universes.
appropriate size diapers?
Lengthwise, yes, but she wasn't filling them out widthwise. So she was wearing the 3 to 6 month clothing.
At what age?
And how do you feel about weight size? Was she okay, or was she?
I was a tad concerned, but then I remembered. I'm a mom, so I'll just worry about anything.
Sure.
But then I remembered Elizabeth and how petite she was then, and how she would fill in lengthwise, but not widthwise until she was about a year.
So what was your tad concern? What was that? Was she just not gaining enough weight, or was that the concern?
It was possibly. It was just.
She's got to be talking about the older daughter right now, because the youngest child only lived to 10 months. So if she's talking about once she got to a year, she's talking about her older daughter. So right now he is documenting that she also starved the other kids. That's what's happening.
I think what got to me was seeing like other babies just so chunky and always hearing like, oh, she's so small. And I was like, yes, she's premature, she's petite.
Mm-hmm.
Leave alone.
Yeah.
And also I forget like all these babies are formula fed, and there's nothing against formula. Sometimes mothers need.
Preemies catch up within the first year. They do. They're small when they're born, but they catch up. They catch up quickly, especially if they're being fed enough food.
Do it, but the formula is what chunks up the baby.
Sure.
The formula.
And I just didn't do that.
The formula. So you were not breastfeeding her. This story is going back and forth quite a bit. She's full of shit. If she's talking about formula, she wasn't breastfeeding her kid. I switched my son to formula once I decided to stop breastfeeding and try and stop the process. And once I put him on formula, I discovered he was lactose intolerant unless it was breast milk. So I had to put him on a soy formula. Like, you don't pay attention to your kid? You don't pay attention to your kid and know what they need to ingest so that they don't have allergic reactions? Oh my God, with this chick. She's so full of shit, and he knows it. And he's just like collecting all this information on video. And she's a dumbass who's there without an attorney. Because that's how they all do in these videos. They never fucking ask for an attorney to be present.
So then I got it out of my head. It was just
you had a little bit of a concern due to her weight, but not her length. But you weren't overly concerned. You got it out of your head because you realized that she's fine.
Yeah, I was being I suppose.
But when you realize she was fine, this phrasing is paramount because he is affirming to Tatiana that Mary was fine, despite the fact that she was malnourished. The child in question is dead, and it was obviously not fine by any estimation. Tatiana agrees with the officer, seemingly forgetting that her child is dead. At the beginning of the interrogation, at the very thought of her youngest daughter, Tatiana had burst into tears, but in the time they have been speaking, she has seemingly forgotten about her entirely.
So for one, at about her six-month mark, which would have been February, April, so in April-ish, she had 1 week of sleeping a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. But then after that 1 week, she went back to the basic schedule that we just discussed. Yeah. And did her schedule ever change again?
Not until recently, which I thought she was going through her 9-month growth spurt. She was sleeping a lot lately.
So recently, her schedule changed again. And when you say recently, about when-ish was that?
3 days ago.
Oh, 3 days ago. Okay. So 3 days ago, what happened then?
We would
So today is Thursday. So Tuesday, was it Monday? Tuesday. You remember what day that you would specifically remember it changing, or you don't have a specific recollection of it?
I don't. But I know I didn't have work.
So you were home the whole time?
Tuesday. Yeah.
Tuesday
sounds fine.
So tell me what you noticed.
She got up at 9 o'clock in the morning. You were so tired, weren't you?
She went to bed when? The night before that.
7 o'clock.
Okay.
If you're watching the upper window, Seth looks quite fidgety there while he's waiting for his chance to get interrogated.
So she got up at 09 after going to bed at 7.
And it just reminded me of when she was 6.
Look at that fat motherfucker. You guys were starving your kids and look at your bodies. Fuck's sake. You were starving your kids and look at your own bodies. Fuck's sake, you guys.
Months old, it seemed consistent. Then she would eat like crazy. And then she would doze off again. Like she was ready for bed immediately after eating. So I just, okay, it's consistent with the other children and with her 6-month-old growth spurt. So I put her down and she'd sleep for about 3 hours. Get up again, eat, and it seemed like she wanted to go to bed, but I kept her up. And she hung out and was interactive, smiling. But then she'd start to fuss because she wanted to go back to bed. She was very tired, and she only likes to sleep in her bed. She'll sleep in the car or the truck, but...
So 3 days ago, did things happen enough that we could establish the routine? Was she on a 3-day routine? Like we just established 2 different routines that she was on. Mm-hmm. Did she have a routine the last 3 days?
No, it was a bit erratic because I would try and keep her up just because I was worried that she was sleeping so much. Mm-hmm. But when she wanted to sleep, she wanted to sleep.
Was she eating?
Yes, very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sunday before last, we went to Golden Corral, and she just feasted.
Wait, what?
She really liked.
She's 10 months old. What are you going to feed a 10-month-old at Golden Corral? Why weren't you picking up baby food at the supermarket? What the hell, dude? What is happening here?
The marshmallow sweet potatoes.
So you thought this was a growth spurt. Is that because you noticed her growing again?
Yes, and I remembered with my other 2 children this.
Oh my God, you guys.
So at 6 months, we were...
Yeah.
And so at this 9-month growth spurt, how much were you guessing her at then?
Maybe 20.
Okay. And when was the last time that you thought she was 20 pounds? Yesterday.
Okay. Uh-huh. All right.
And yesterday.
A second. I gotta take a bathroom break. Give me a second. Well. I guess I will go ahead and give this book to my son, who will be turning 29 this year. But I double-checked I apparently documented this for at least the first 3 years of his life. I documented a lot of things because that's what normal parents do. And my son, hold on, let me find this again. This is shocking to me that she's telling me on this video, she's saying on the video that her 10-month-old daughter weighed 20 pounds at age 10 months, right? I have documented in visits to the pediatrician, November 17th, his doctor's name, I'm not going to share that with you, 14 pounds, 2 ounces, 24 inches, 2-month checkup. 2 months old. This was her 10-month-old baby.
Okay. When you thought she was 20 pounds, how long would you have guessed her to be?
Her legs would wrap around my waist. She's quite long.
Because she was born at 20 inches, right?
Mm-hmm. So her head here, and she would just wrap around the side there. So 26 inches maybe.
Okay.
Quite long.
So these last 3 days that she was going through her growing spurt, you were off from work Tuesday. That's the first day that you noticed that?
Yeah. And then I went to work Wednesday yesterday at work. And she does have a different schedule when I go to work. If you need to make note of that.
Yes, what's that?
So in the morning, she gets up at 7, along with the other children. Breakfast for her and for everyone. And that would be nursing and nursing for about half hour while the kids ate. And then oatmeal. Oatmeal with maybe some maple syrup in it, or oatmeal with strawberries in it. Just depends.
Spoon oatmeal or oatmeal, and mix it up out of Okay.
Nice and chunky for her.
Okay.
And then I'd keep her up, and she would be awake until I had to go to work. So she'd be awake, then it was time to go outside and help Daddy with the fields. And we'd do weeding, or I'd sit Mary in her stroller, and she'd just sit and watch the ducks, and just laugh at them.
So you didn't work, was it 7?
I didn't work. I'm sorry, what?
You started your day again, was it 7 o'clock that you started
In
your
the
day?
morning, yeah.
No, I'm sorry, your work day, on your days of work, what time did you start?
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
3 p.m. So you'd keep her awake from 7 till 3?
To 2:30.
Till 2:30?
Yeah.
And so during that time that she was kept awake, how many other meals did she have?
About 4, possibly, yeah.
So
One
she
of them
had
was just nursing.
Well, the 7 o'clock one was breakfast. It was nursing for 30 minutes, oatmeal, some maple syrup, or fruit, whatever you had around. So when would the next meal then be on this different routine day?
Oh, probably about when the kids would usually want a snack around 9. So it would be then. She'd eat maybe 9:30, 10. And that's that was when it'd be quiet time for the kids. The kids would go in their room and they could read, they could sit in their bed quietly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Mama's
Mm-mm.
entire hour.
Okay.
And then if the kids were getting too restless, then time to go back outside. Or they'd have to clean their room.
Yeah.
But for yesterday, the kids, we went back outside. It was just so nice out. So then, she likes it keeps her quiet if you go for walks in the stroller. So we're just knocking down the driveway, we check the mail, we pick the garbage. The wind will blow garbage from other places sometimes. Help Daddy with the weeding. We cut some weeds for the goat, and then that's another couple hours, and then it'd be about maybe 2:15. Or no, I'm sorry, it'd be about 1:30.
So the last time she would have ate would have been 1:30 yesterday in the afternoon?
No, I'd feed her again at 1:30, and then
What was that feeding?
nursing and some oatmeal.
How long was that nursing?
The nursing was about 20 minutes. The oatmeal took longer because she was about 8 ounces of oatmeal. And then I would, I think the kids were still outside. I just eat. Oh yeah. Resting my feet before work. I'm just standing for 8 hours.
That was at 1:30?
Yeah. So then, 2:30 was when Mary would finish eating. 2:30 was the end of it, and that's when I would change her diaper again and put her down.
Mm-hmm. Poopy diaper.
Yesterday morning, when I got her up for the day.
Have you noticed?
Your baby only had one goddamn poopy diaper more than 24 hours before she died of starvation. Wow, dude. Wow.
Noticed a decline in poopy diapers?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay, so it was like that the whole time. All
So
right.
it's such a surprise to me. This morning, when I got her up, she had spit up, and I just...
So yesterday morning, when you got her up at 7, she had spit up?
No, this morning.
Oh, this morning.
At 9, when I got her up, when I tried to get her up,
Yeah.
I thought maybe she choked on her spit. That's why.
What color was her spit up?
it was foamy and brown. So I thought maybe it was the oatmeal and the fruit mixed in there.
So where was the spit up at?
The side of her mouth. The side of her face.
And was that, did you think, I don't know, was that food? Was it blood?
No, it wasn't
It
blood.
was not blood.
No,
Was she have any kind of vomiting of blood or anything like that?
No, never.
Okay.
We would take her to her doctor.
Well, sure,
That
yeah.
never happened.
So you were certain it was food?
Yes, that's what
And it was on the side, it was on what side of her face?
her right side.
Her right side, okay. And then that's when you noticed that she was unresponsive. Was this morning when you saw that? And what happened next?
She
What? What happened next?
excuse me. Her eyes were open.
Did anything else look strange other than obviously just stood up and her eyes were open? Or other than that, did she look as usual?
Just cold.
Okay.
So I went in to get set. And so, it's an emergency. And he's like, and I was just so shocked. And he reminded me I knew CPR, and he told me to start. So I took her from the bed and I put her on her changing table. And I started CPR, and I did the 2-finger touch on the chest. If you use your whole hand, you could break ribs, and I didn't want to do that, for sure.
I know this is tough.
So I did a 2-finger touch on the chest and her back, and I wiped her mouth, and I did.
So you did this on her on the kitchen table?
No, the changing table.
On the changing table in the bedroom.
Yes.
Her tone radically shifts. When she is describing what she did when she found Mary, her tone goes up and becomes more in line with someone experiencing distress. But when the officer interrupts, asks her for clarification, her tone drops back down to a normal range. This could be indicative of someone who is feigning distress, which is more than likely the case. Tatiana's estimation and the last days leading up to Mary's death are entirely false. Everything she states about the lengths she went to make sure her daughter was taken care of, her leaving breast milk for her daughter and taking care to mix it with other food, is a lie. Mary rarely ate, and the majority of the time didn't eat enough to make waste. But the way she talks, how she adds details, it all seems believable.
So you said you did it on her mouth and then you wiped her mouth.
No, it doesn't. How can you say that sounds believable? Any mother knows that's not believable. Give me a break.
Turn off first because it was the spit up. And now that I think about it, I think it was banana and oatmeal. You know when banana's been sitting out and it's very ripe?
Oh, yeah.
It gets that like brownish color.
Yeah.
But ripe banana's very sweet, and she eats the oatmeal better with it.
So what did you wipe her mouth with?
A baby wipe, a lavender scented baby wipe.
Okay. And then you did what with that?
I threw it in the garbage.
Okay.
Well, not immediately. No, I just wiped her and put it to the side,
Just wiped her and threw it down. Yeah.
right next on the changing table.
And then you picked her up out of the bed.
Yes. And then I put her on the changing table, and then when I was pumping her chest, there was like bubbles, bubbles coming out of her mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe that's why I thought she choked.
This is the third video I've watched in which they've discussed that when somebody dies, they gurgle. The third video I've watched in which they've said, well, they were gurgling, so I thought they were still alive. Third video I've watched that has said this.
And then maybe if I kept pumping, like it would, like maybe it would come out, and then she'd like cough and wake up. Because I was just wiping the bubbles, and I was giving her air and giving her pumping with my finger, just my 2 fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should have done more.
Nope, you were doing it right.
And she was still so cold, and I think maybe 10 minutes. I don't. It's so hard to gauge time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
And this guy was with me the whole time, and he just.
I could never do an interrogation like this because I have no poker face, y'all. I would be so pissed at her while this is going on. I'd be like, are you kidding me, bitch? Stop lying to me, asshole.
He just asked me, is she dead? Is she gone? While he's crying, just asking me, is she gone? And it's just so hard to say yes. And I just said yes. She's just unresponsive. And then we had no idea what to do then at all. Like, what do we do?
Mm-hmm.
And so he called his parents, or he called his dad first, excuse me, and his dad said, okay, your mom and I are on our way. Call the police. Let them know what happened, and we'll try and get there before they do.
What?
And then we just spent the entire time on the couch waiting and crying. We did sleep. It was just my mother-in-law doesn't like dirty houses.
This, again, is false. Seth and Tatiana didn't call the police or emergency services until 3 hours after finding Mary's body,
Oh
and they
my
only
God.
did so after talking to a lawyer. In the call, Seth didn't seem to be under any emotional duress, so the concept that these two people were extremely distraught rings hollow.
We just swept the floor for her, but I don't know why. Who cares? Why would we?
So this morning you found her about 9 o'clock. And is that what time you woke up?
No, I woke up at around 7. The kids are very consistent with their wake up time at 7.
And she's always up at 7.
Yes. Except when she's going through a growth spurt, she'll sleep into about 9 or 10.
Okay.
Which is why I went to check in on her at 9, and I wondered why she wasn't up yet.
Okay.
But last night when I came home, I opened the door just a tad so we could make that noise.
So you finished feeding her at 2:30.
Yep.
And you put her to bed at 2:30. And that was the last time you saw her because you went to work then?
Yeah.
Okay. But then you came home at 11:30. And when you opened the door, you saw movement from her.
Mm-hmm.
You're certain you saw movement?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Or else I would have been.
So, did you go any further into that room other than just looking through the door?
No.
The crack in the door?
I did not.
Was it the hole in the door or the crack in the door that you looked at?
It was a hole in the door. I didn't open the door completely. I just pushed it enough so it would make the noise. It's a very old, creaky door. So I pushed it enough. It makes the noise. It doesn't open the door completely. And she nudges because she hears it. And I just peek at her. I see her moving. And she's...
When you say that you saw her moving, how did you see her move? Can you describe that?
She was laying on her back still. Her blanket wasn't kicked off, and I only wrapped it right around the knees down to her feet to keep her feet warm. And she had her polar bear, but she likes to play with her polar bear before she goes to bed, so she kicked it off to the side.
Wait a minute, I thought you just said there were no toys in the crib. Isn't that why I just had the discussion about SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome? She keeps going back and forth on her story. What the hell is happening here, girlfriend? She had her polar bear in the crib with her, huh? You know, I had a specially designed pillow for my son so that he would sleep on his side, because that's one way to prevent SIDS, is that if you teach babies to sleep on their side by propping them up in just the right way, they are less likely to gag on their own spit up. All right. You seem like you're lying about a bunch of shit because you just said there was nothing in the crib not long ago. And now you're saying there was a polar bear in the crib.
She was laying on her back. Her head was turned to the left side a bit. So when I pushed the door open, she jerked her arm a little and turned her head. So I could see that her eyes were still closed. She was squinting a bit. And then...
That's where she's going with this. She's trying to make this into SIDS, you guys. She's so stupid she doesn't realize that the police already know that she was malnourished and died of starvation. So she's trying to turn this into SIDS. That's what she's fucking trying to do.
Okay, and that's what she does.
And what time would that have been?
Around 11:30, 11:45, like, we'll just say 11:30. So I came home, I was still in my uniform. I came home and I brought lemonade and a burger, and I just set it down on the table, and I looked inside, and I did that, and she was fine. And then,
Wow.
and then
When she went to bed at 3, wouldn't it be odd? Wouldn't it be odd, like for Seth, that she's still in bed when he went to bed? She's in bed she went to sleep at 2:30.
She's done this before, and so have our other kids. Which is why we thought if she.
What do you mean she went to bed at 2:30? You literally already have testimony that says she put her down at 3 and didn't check on her again until 10 a.m. Are we talking about the same night? Because I don't think we are at this point. How does this keep changing?
We want to let her sleep.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that, but you saw her and we saw her, and she's tiny.
For over an hour, Tatiana has been telling the police about what a great mother she was, how she worked tirelessly to provide for her children, how she made sure they had enough to eat, and how they were all happy and healthy. She described the home as being a loving environment, where the children could learn right from wrong, and she presented herself as a very involved, loving parent. And up until this point in the interview, she has been under the impression that they believed her. She believed that through her ability to lie alone, they would overlook the vermin, insects, and mold in the home, that they would look at the long history of abuse and neglect allegations that they have against them as nothing more than an overreach by doctors and others. She believed that she could make all the evidence that would point to the truth disappear, simply because she could lie very well, and she is being told directly to her face that she is wrong. That simple acknowledgement of the fact that Mary's size when she died is a huge blow to Tatiana's confidence. She has two ways forward from this. Either she could double down, attempt to make the evidence against her work in her favor, or she could admit that Mary was having issues, and that the problem didn't appear out of nowhere. Let's see what she does.
Tatiana, we're all parents in this room, okay? And we all need to be honest. Remember in the car when I first talked with you, and I told you that at the end of the day, we all need to know exactly.
It's too many bleeps, y'all.
Right? Okay. So we need to tell her story. Okay? And I want you to think about this for a minute. I want you to think for a second and put yourself in our shoes. You're the police officer. You're the police detective. You get called out to that home today. You get called to my home or his home today. Okay? You, the police officer. And then you have to go into that house and you have to look at that precious little angel. Okay? Do you think she was healthy, honestly?
When you look at her size, and you can see every single bone in her body,
Oh my God.
do you think she was healthy?
We know this isn't easy, Tatiana, but we need to know what happened to her. What was going on?
So when did she start losing all that weight?
The past 2 days.
But she's lost so much weight that you can't lose that much in 2 days. I've never seen a child that skinny. Never. And here's the thing. You're obviously a very concerned mom. But at what point did you know, what point did you think something was wrong?
You're obviously a very concerned mom. The
Yeah.
officer is using the ego up technique to once again establish a connection between himself and Tatiana. By saying that she is a concerned, therefore a good mom, he is trying to get her to align herself with that idea and change her story, which will hurt her credibility should the case go to trial.
Which you will.
Because I know that you knew something, or you thought something wrong. You are an intelligent, educated woman. And at some point, you felt something was wrong.
It's not until she took me. I had so much, maybe it was just delusional hope that she was getting bigger and that our cheeks were getting fuller. And she was just so happy and playful. And then just these past couple days,
So at what point did she can't even weigh 8 pounds right now. She doesn't weigh 8 pounds.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
When's the last time that you actually inspected her, that you looked at her? Tell me the truth.
Every time when I change her, and I think I just may have been just so blinded, and I just...
What were you blinded by? Because I know, listen, you are an intelligent, articulate, college-educated, early childhood development. You know when you look at someone that something's wrong. I have a picture of her right here. I'm prepared to show you. That tells you no medical treatment. As dumb as I am, I'm not near as intelligent as you. I can't speak the words you can speak. I am not you. And even I can look at this photo and I can say, whoa, something's wrong. It put tears in our eyes when we walked in there. It was that obvious.
Tatiana, I'm going to be quite honest with you right now, okay? One parent to another, right? And I'm going to try and control my emotions, all right? I've been to a child death investigator school, and I've seen photos and images of children that have been malnourished. And I'm telling you right now, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
Oh.
There is something incredibly fake about this reaction. This feels like a response that you would see on a cop procedural or a show airing on the CW. Her responding, "Oh no, really?" in this way to being told that this is the worst case of child malnourishment he has ever seen is incredibly inappropriate to the scenario. She was just told that her 9-month-old, which she claimed weighed 20 pounds, only weighing 8, less than when she was born. That is such an outrageous lie that the interview itself feels incredibly illogical. Again, she is one of the most gifted liars I have featured on this channel, which is disturbing.
Wait. Who's lying, though? Who's lying? Are you saying that the... Oh, I need some more clarification here. Are you saying that the child didn't actually weigh 8 pounds? Because, quite frankly, my son was almost 8 pounds when I delivered him at birth. Okay? So that's a crazy amount of weight for... I thought you all said it was a 10-month-old. Now you're saying 9 months. Okay. The numbers keep changing in this story, which is very confusing to me. But are you saying the detectives are lying about the weight of the child? But they just said that the bones were visible and everything else, and that the child at 9 months, 10 months, whatever the fuck it is less, a smaller weight than her original birth weight? This is a fucking crazy story, you guys. I'm so confused by this. And I'm also I'm very eager. That's why I'm definitely at least going to do a part 3. This is part 2, right? I'm at least going to do a part 3 because I need to know how her husband responds and, like, what his interrogation video looks like, because this is fucking crazy. Let's go.
You clearly need help too, though.
Yeah.
You're going to be dealing with this. This is baggage. This is something that... Well, all I want to know is what stopped you from seeking help? You knew something was wrong. What stopped you? Tell us the truth.
This is where they try and get her to finger the husband, right? But I think they already have enough information to know that she's lying about everything and she was starving her children. Like, you don't even need to go that far, but they're trying to collect information right now. So now they're trying to also get her to finger the husband, which is great. Like, get them both in trouble because obviously they weren't taking care of their kids.
I mean, are you guys that financially strapped? I mean, what is it? Do you not believe in health care? Do you have religious beliefs? I mean, what is it?
These fatties, they were not financially strapped because clearly they were eating enough to be obese, both of them.
We do have religious beliefs, and we were praying about it, and we have faith that...
Okay.
When did you start praying about it?
Tatiana only talks about religion now, after it's been asserted by the officer. If the beliefs were the reason they wouldn't go to the doctor or seek any medical intervention, they would have been brought up before.
I mean, when she was born, but consistency consistently and heavily the past 4 days.
By the way, I disagree with that assessment because they were trying to hide the fact that they're religious zealots. They're not going to, these folks are not going to openly admit that the reason they were neglecting their children is because of their religious beliefs. They hid that until they got confronted about it. And now they're talking about it. But at this point, I got about 5 more minutes before I have to make this a part 2. Let's go.
So 3-4 days ago, you started praying. What were your prayers?
She's helped her gain weight. She's eating wise and it's sticking. She ate so much.
But so why?
Did it stick?
I have a strong faith as well, a very strong faith, and I think God answers prayers. I'm with you on that. I also think God puts people in places to help people, but we all have our own beliefs. But here's what I'm saying is that you guys knew enough was wrong to start heavily and consistently praying. Why didn't we seek help? You knew. No.
Say anything to Seth.
Seth had to know. He doesn't ever hold her?
Yes, but he was also very faithful and trusting God and trusted that it would be okay. And didn't think we needed to bring her to a doctor.
Wow. Okay, let's pause here.
We knew.
Let's pause here because I got to clip it. And I gotta eat something myself. I mean, like, look, I've got some fat on my body, so I'm not gonna die if I don't have a fucking meal right now. But the point being is that I'm sorry, religious zealot assholes, you can't abuse your kids and expect that there won't be severe consequences. If you do this. Oh, it's in God's hands. It's in God's hands. What were the prayers? What were the prayers? You're reciting Our Father, Hail Mary, Angel of God, the One True Church. No, because they're not Catholic. If they were Catholic, they wouldn't have acted like this. It's in God's hands. I don't have any parental responsibility, you guys. I don't have to take care of my kids. This woman is so disgusting. I can't even. All right. So I'm going to pause here. This is going to be part 2. I can't even, you guys. We're only 1 hour in. This is a 3-hour long fucking video. This is potentially going to be a multi-part series. Because I can't stop. I can't figure out, like, well, what did the husband do? Right? What's going to be his fucking excuses for starving his kids? All right. Let's clip it here.